Hey guys, it's Seanie B, here to talk about episode 8 of season 4 called Meet Kevin Johnson, and unfortunately this is the last episode before the 4-week break. As you probably remember from last episode, episode 7, Kevin Johnson is referring to Michael's alias, the name he goes by, and this story, as you could probably figure out, is all about him from when he leaves the island in end of season 2 till now. Now, really quick before we get started, I want to mention something I forgot to say in the Ji Yeon recap last episode. Remember when Sun's giving birth and she's in the hospital and she sees that random guy in the hallways looking at her and she thinks it's Jin. Now, the same actor is also an extra Losty that's on the island from a previous season. I think that's kind of weird. I don't think they'd recycle extras just like that, knowing by how many people watch and look at every single scene of every single episode. Not sure what that's all about. This episode's all about Michael. 95% of the episode is his flashback, from in between the time he gets off the island till now. So we have to assume that Ben actually kept his word this time of him getting off the island. I remember back to season 2 when Michael was on the island and he's trying to get away from the others, and Tom with his beard, he told the guys not to shoot him because they need him. As we know, Michael is Ben's man on the boat, so this is probably what Tom could be referring to. It starts off at the barracks at night, and everyone's in Ben/Locke's house, and they're having an intense staring contest. Locke has Miles tell everyone what they're here for, and he says it's Ben, and that their orders are to kill everyone on the island once they get him. And Ben officially tells us that Michael is his man on the boat, even though we already knew that forever ago, and apparently Hurley does too. Back to the freighter, it's still nighttime and the sirens go off, which if you notice are the exact same sounds as when the hatch timer is about to go off. And it shows the captain beating up 2 people trying to leave the freighter. He tells Johnson to go clean it up and everyone goes back to what they're doing except Saeed goes up to Michael. And notice that the captain pays attention to this. He looks over his shoulder, and I'll be talking about this later. And then Michael says, "I'm here to die." Well, alrighty then. Back to the island, Sawyer brings up the whole $3.2 million deal, and Miles starts laughing and says Linus will get it somehow. Now, at this point, it could start to seem like it is actual real money, $3.2 million, and not code like I thought it was before. However, I do think it is code still, and that he's implying that Ben can do whatever he wants, and he's not under your control like you may think he is. Ben tells Alex to go to the temple, which is apparently another station on the island, as we can see here on the map, but Rousseau and Carl go with her. Alex then asks if the people from the freighter are more dangerous than you to her dad, and he says, "Oh, yes. Right." We go back to the freighter and Michael's helping to fix the engine. Okay, wait. He is the ship janitor. Why on earth is he fixing the engine? We know that there's supposed to be an engineer on board because Minkowski, as we see later, thinks he is the engineer, or at least he asks. So what is he doing, stripping down the engine and giving orders to other crew members to go get valves out of stock? I know he's supposed to break it, but it's just kind of funny. Then Saeed comes in and makes him tell how he got on the boat, and for almost the rest of the episode shows Michael's flashback for when he was back on the mainland. As we know, the Oceanic 6 were paid off by Oceanic or some other company to keep them quiet, not tell them about anyone. So you would think that because Michael's not telling anyone about himself or where he was, he'd be given anything he wants. Michael looks terrible. He writes a note and gets into his car and drives away. And he turns on the radio and the song It's Getting Better by Mama Cass comes on. Now remember this song because I'm going to bring it up later. Mike says he's sorry to himself as he tries to commit suicide by driving into a trash dump. And he wakes up and he's in the hospital, and he's mad that he's still alive. Now notice how they show the guy laying next to him. I don't know about you, but to me it looks a whole lot like Alvar Hanso. Now Lost has to be very selective in what they pick for their episodes because they film so much stuff. And they make a point of showing this guy quite a few seconds during the next minute, so It's probably important somehow. It's just pretty interesting. Then Michael hears a nurse come in, and it turns out to be Libby. She says it's a miracle you're still alive, and Michael freaks out, closes his eyes, and when he opens, she's gone. And I couldn't help but notice that was very similar to Hurley and Jacob's cabin. Now, was this just a vision, bad nightmare by Michael, or was it an apparition like the other dead people that have appeared on the island? Only because of what she said about being a miracle that you're still alive. I think she is an apparition, but it's just a gut feeling. The real nurse comes in and asks what his name is, and Michael won't tell her. In the next scene, Michael appears to be all better as he goes to his mom's house, where Walt's staying, probably within hours of the hospital finding out he didn't have medical insurance. His mom comes out, and at first I thought it was the same lady from Miles' flashback when he goes to Inglewood, California, but as you can see here, they're different ladies. She says she thought Michael and Walt were dead, and she can't tell anyone about him and Walt, can't call them by their real names, and asks where they were for 2 months. If Michael can't even tell his own mom about where he was for those 2 months, the person controlling the Oceanic Six and what Michael is saying, what story they have to tell, has got to be pretty powerful. And this is probably why he doesn't give the nurse his name, because he's under the same lie as the O6, even though he's not a member of them. As Michael's walking away, he sees Walt for a brief second in the window. And as you can see here, it didn't look like the current Walt. They either used a completely different kid that looked like him, a lot like him, or they digitally put him in the window. The flashbacks were taking place like a month after they left the island, so I'm guessing they digitally put a younger Walt looking out the window because the actor is much older now. Michael goes into a pawn shop to get a gun, and he takes off his watch for payment instead. It's funny, Michael walks into the store and says, "How much can you give me? How much?" And the guy says like 300 or so, and Michael says, "Oh, I don't want money." Jeez, make up your mind. If you remember, this used to be Jin's watch, and he was supposed to deliver it to a man in California. There's Korean writing on the back of it, and translated it says, "Congratulations, mutual cooperation, business development, Mr. Pick." Michael goes into an alley after he gets the gun, and right as he's about to pull the trigger on himself, he hears a familiar voice. It's Tom, aka Mr. Friendly, and he stops Michael from shooting himself, first by asking what's the time. Obviously, he followed Michael into the pawn shop and saw that he sold the watch. And also, why was Michael fiddling around with all those bullets? I mean, if you're going to shoot yourself in the head, you only need one. Michael's wondering how he even found him, and Tom says that they keep tabs on everyone. Tom then realizes that Michael told Walt that he killed Ana Lucia and Libby, and that's why Walt isn't talking to him. Tom also lets us know that the island won't let Michael kill himself, and that's why he didn't die in the accident, and why he won't die if he shoots himself. Now, this was one of my favorite parts of the episode, and lets us know that no matter how many times you try, no matter how many ways you do it, you're not able to kill yourself. That's why Michael can't kill himself with the gun, that's why he didn't die in the car accident, and that's why Jack couldn't kill himself when he tried to commit suicide by jumping off the bridge. He got stopped before he could do it. So the island's not letting them die because they still have work to do, apparently.